Guys, we are back for episode 4, and just want to mention Pat had a great little surprise birthday this past weekend. How was that, Pat?
I did. Well, the birthday wasn't a surprise, but the party was. Yeah, it was a fun time. I am finally in shape to do a podcast again now, because I kind of blew it out a little bit. Had a lot of fun. It was a biggie birthday. The only redeeming news of hitting a biggie birthday is I am in another pickleball age category now. So yay! I got sure they may be waiting for me, and those guys have been playing a long time. So who knows, right? So,
Hey,
anyway,
that's
let's
the
get the
best.
show on the road.
Awesome.
Just hit a tune here, and we'll be right back.
If it's pickleball in Canada, you found the podcast with Canadian pickleball players, pros, and addicts. Welcome to Pickleball Today, the podcast version of Pickleball Today.
Okay, everyone. Hey, Patty here, along with Mark Bittorf. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great today, Pat. Thanks.
Yeah, we've got an exciting agenda today. Really quick, we have a very special guest coming up in a moment. Yui See Lau of the CPA Pro Tour and the CNPL. But we've got a lot of things to cover. We're going to get into very quickly a little bit of the Joola ever expanding and changing Joola paddle Gen 3 paddle controversy. Then Yui is we're going to talk to him about the CPA Pro Tour. We got Catherine Parenteau, some news coming up with her. Mark has some stuff about pickleball shoes. Also, I'm going to talk about a couple favorite books that I've reading and that have really been helpful for me. And then we'll get into a coach's tip from Mark and a quick tournament update across Canada. The main thing, though, we want to cover is we're a little different from most other pickleball podcasts. We are focusing on, in general, amateur pickleball across the country. We cover the pro tours, CNPL, CPA Pro Tour in Canada as well. But you know what our podcast is, for those of you who are brand new this week, is all about whatever's of interest to an average player, whether they be a just casual player, club player, tournament player, whatever. And there's a lot going on. And that's really where 99% of the people are, is not all of us are pros, not all of us are ever going to be pros. And as much as we admire them, and, I think we can learn a lot from them. So that's what we're all about. So let's get into it. Really, what's going on with you with Joola paddles at your tournament right now?
So we're going by the USAPA rulings. So anything,
Okay.
so until we get an update right now, they're not something that we're allowing at our events.
That's okay. Fair enough. Well, I'm going to do a really fast rundown of what's gone on over the last just few weeks. I guess it's been. There was speculation of why the USAPA banned the paddles in the first place. It ended up to be, according to Joola, an administrative problem where they sent in certain paddles for testing, and then they were not the same as the paddles that went to market. That's what Joola claimed afterwards. Originally, Joola said that would be rectified in a matter of days. They shipped over some immediately for testing again. Those paddles got there. They paid a little extra to get them tested quickly, but also USAP does get a lot of paddles. So they still have not finalized that test process, even though that's gone on for more than a week, or I guess 2 weeks, really. Joola also said if it wasn't rectified by May 31st, that people could get a refund, but they haven't come back since then and said that that's the case. They might just be, hedging for a week and try to finalize, because they sold millions and millions of dollars worth of paddles. It was like biggest paddle release. Yeah. Yep. So I'm sure they'd like to hold back on that for a little bit, but some people have sent them back. PPA initially didn't ban them from the tournament a few weeks back, but then they did ban them from the tournament this past weekend. So they've fallen into, at least for right now, following the USAPA rules. So it's a confusing and fluid situation.
Yeah.
But again, it's not a matter of the power of these paddles. It was a matter of the technicality of the testing. The power, however, could also fall under the new testing protocols, where they're what's it called? Deflection testing.
Yeah.
And they haven't quite launched that yet. So it's very fluid. All paddle companies are wanting to test the limits. By a technicality, they, kind of messed up. But I played one, felt great, didn't feel incredible. And frankly, it's freestyle.
Yeah. So I know at the at court last night, I was even playing just in some rec games, and all the rec players are still using them. We maybe joke around with our buddies that are still using them. I'm giving them a little bit of a hard time, but I think going forward, I think they'll get the situation figured out, and everybody will be put back in the right place where they should be. So
if they really get hard banned, I think then we should give people a lot of grief.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Anyway, let's shift gears a little bit. Yui See Lau is with us today. Yui, again, thanks for joining us. You are maybe one of the busiest guys in Canada pickleball this week with the start of your tour tomorrow.
That's
Tomorrow's
right.
first day. So we're honored
for coming flights.
Yeah, we're honored that you've taken a few moments to join us today. Let's talk about, first of all, you and then the tour. You've been involved in pickleball for how many years now?
So I was brought into the fold by Tyrol as the shoe brand as a creative director because my background's in media and music production. A lot of my work is on Disney, ABC, Fox, ESPN, that kind of thing. So Tyrol was looking for help packaging their brand and looking for creative direction, and I got the call. And at the time, I had no idea what pickleball was. I'll be honest. I started looking for work immediately after I got the call because I didn't know how long this contract would last. 3 years later, it's still going, and it's still going good. So this is just a testament to the longevity of the sport. But yeah, I didn't get into pickleball as a player like so many people did. I got into it by on the creative side, on the branding side, and then getting to see, because Tyrol sponsored PPA for 2022. From June to December of 2022, I went to pretty much every single PPA stop, and it was something where I was like, hey, this is really cool seeing this brand new sport grow so quickly to the point where it's being produced at this level. And we were like, hey, this is probably something that Canada could use. And after researching and making sure that there wasn't anything like this in Canada at the time happening, we were like, hey, let's put this league together and see if we could sell some teams. It was supposed to, from 2022, from June to December, we did a whole bunch of events with them in kind of preparation to be the lead shoe sponsor for the 2023 year. Unfortunately, Skechers came and kind of put a kibosh on the whole thing because they that left out of the running. But nevertheless, we've been able to be creative and stay in the game and stay in the game in a big way still. Obviously now expanding over to China where I'm also pretty actively working in the pickleball industry as well. So it's everything happens for a reason, and we're grateful to have been able to kind of regroup and figure out this new strategy because I think we're better off for it.
Right. So the CNPL came along, team-based, and then you and your partner, Alex, have moved on to a PPA-style competition in Canada, the CPA Pro Tour.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say moved on. I mean, these products are complementary.
Forgive me. That's not what I meant. Yeah.
No, but yeah, they're complementary in the sense of, I think, like we were talking about largely, the CNPL is something for the cream of the crop players, the pros that we're working very hard to spotlight. The CPA Pro Tour is something that was created for amateur participation largely, with the pros being the attraction and the draw. So so we're, again, largely following what's already, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. These are tested models that have been successful in the U.S., down to having a retail partner like Pickleball Central. That'll be our high sports over on our side. It's all been done. We just wanted to see that happen for our pros so that our pros didn't feel like they had to go to the U.S. to compete at these kind of events and largely not do as well as they would if they had their own pool to compete in here first, right? We proved the concept with the Walker sisters and Hannah Black getting drafted to the big leagues in last year's CNPL season. So we're hoping to continue to be able to be feeder systems to bigger and better events outside of Canada, whether that's, the tours and leagues in the US or the new Pickleball World Series that was recently announced
Nice.
by Pickleball World Rankings, who happens to be our title sponsor. So it's all kind of an ecosystem that's coming together and getting connected, and I'm glad that Canada will get to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, we are too. I mean, we're covering Canada. I met you last year. We covered all of the CNPL events, both
right.
in Ontario and in Alberta, and enjoyed it immensely. Had a lot of fun. I was brand new at it. I didn't know the players at the beginning because we didn't have an opportunity to see them on TV or anything.
You were brand new, so was I. So we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
That's great that you guys are doing that for Canada too. That's great that you guys are putting all this effort and time and commitment to growing the sport in Canada, and that's what we want to see. We want it to make it just as big as down in the States, and players can be proud to say they played in the CPA Tour. So that's good to hear.
And your involvement with the CNPL, I mean, last weekend I thought was phenomenal. It was the quality level of the players. Oh my goodness.
It's definitely coming up. So we are very excited to see the outcomes of the CNPL Eastern split. It was crazy to me just to see how far we've come even from last year in terms of the level of play. We're seeing success stories of people who tried out last year, didn't make it, tried out again this year, specifically training for the draft and then making it. And so, just having these stories be part of our story, I think is kind of like what we're here for. Just being able to build pickleball up in Canada to a level where we have this infrastructure in place to kind of be a platform for the best of that our country has to offer. I think, especially as we push towards the Olympics, this is good preparation for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I really, really appreciate it. The quality of play, as I said, was outstanding. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. The team-based event is fun, but also when we get into the regular tour style pickleball, I love the idea. And we'll be covering you again. I'll get out at least on Sunday this weekend. Anything else you want to close out on? Tell us the location and.
Yes. So the inaugural event of Canada's first Pro Pickleball Tour is going to be June 5th to 9th at High Sports Pickleball in Oshawa. And we're very excited to see all the amateur players that have signed up to play amongst the pros. And obviously, we're very excited for the pro division as well, which center court for which will be live streamed on our YouTube channel at CPA Pro Tour, as well as Championship Sunday on Game Plus Network, which is
cool.
Sports and
Entertainment. Maybe I can embed it on ours as well and get another site out there if it's embeddable.
Yeah, that would be great. And obviously, please feel free to let me know when you guys are on site, if you guys need access to any of the players or any of the organizers for interviews.
Yeah.
Just keep me both.
I think because of the travel, I will probably just be there on the finals day. But
that's not a day to pick. If you got to pick a day, I would pick Championship Sunday.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
Takes some.
Well, thanks, you're welcome to hang in for a while. You might have some opinions on what we're talking about next.
I've got to take off. I do, guys. I really appreciate the time. We are setting up and scrambling to set up for tomorrow. Otherwise, I would have hung out. It's been a great
problem.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. This was awesome.
Oh, please. It was my pleasure, and I'm excited to see you guys at the event.
See you later. Okay. Sunday.
Take care, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, they've done such a good job, both at the CNPL, where he's heavily involved. Now this, I expect it'll be equally good as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing it on Sunday. And I'll check. Did he say the streaming was just on the Sunday? I couldn't.
I think he said championship court was recorded all 4 days. I'm pretty sure. Just the one court they're going to have streamed. So that'll be awesome if you can get it up on the site as well. For
I did that with the CNPL.
Yeah.
So
it's
good.
Okay,
we're going to just take a quick break from a sponsor, but our sponsor breaks are not as long this week. So if we scared anybody away with 5-minute sponsor breaks last week, don't worry about it. We're not doing it anymore. But they were big intros of some nice products. So today you're sponsored by Crown Pickleball, Crown makes a wonderful pickleball that they are selling and shipping to Canada in bulk. They aren't selling 3-packs or 12-packs this way, and they're not available generally in Canada in small packs, but they are selling a very high-quality pickleball at a great price, $250 Canadian, $250 or $252 Canadian. That includes duty, shipping, everything. Duty already prepaid, so the only thing you're going to add in is your tax. You're getting 100 good quality balls. They make indoor, outdoor, multiple colors, and apparently these are a really high-end ball. I was supposed to have them today. UPS is going to be here in exactly 1 hour. So here's the ball. Thanks. But I wanted to show them, and they've sent me some balls, a mini net, and we're all going to order some in bulk now as well. But I wanted to at least show them, and I played some in the U.S. when I was in Florida, and they were good. They were really good balls.
Yeah.
They were, at least a third less than most other companies. So
that's where the value pitch is. Nice.
Yeah.
And I think we're planning to play them tomorrow night. We're going to play a little match, me and you, Pat.
Yeah, I'll bring them over.
And try these balls out.
Yes. And you can get them at on our website, pickleballtoday.co/crown. And that takes you to a Canadian version of it all, where all your duty, taxes, everything is paid for, duty, brokerage, and all that. So you don't have to worry about any of those kind of hassles. Pickleballtoday.co/crown. So that's that. Next topic, Catherine Parenteau. You know of her, right, Mark?
Oh, yes. She's one of our very first, Canadians to have, done so well on the American tours down there. And I know I believe she's living down there now, because that's where the big pickleball has been over the last few years, right?
Sure.
So, but and anytime I see Catherine on a stream or anything like that, I always tune in. She's a very good player.
Yeah. Me too. Catherine was a tennis player, went to Michigan State University, I believe it was, and that's where she met her coach, Simone Jardin, who became
the legend,
player.
The legend, the queen of
Simone
pickleball.
Simone introduced Catherine to pickleball just for fun. Simone went on to be an all-time great, probably the greatest before Annalie Waters as far as victories. Now Catherine is the leading woman in, I believe, all-time wins. I say Catherine, I mean Annalie Waters, leading woman in all-time wins, but Catherine Parenteau is number 2.
Yeah.
She's rated number 2 worldwide, both in women's singles and women's doubles. In our connection, I've met Catherine last year. She's allowed me to use some of her videos, but now we've made it official. I'm going to be able to use all of her training videos on Pickleball Today. And she messaged me, and we're good to go. We put one up the other day that is a fascinating video. You want to just go to pickleballtoday.co to see it. And it was something that it really resonated with me, Mark, in the training. And again, I've been playing for just a bit over a year now. The typical training you have as a beginner is, hit the ball, some rules, get going, don't hit it out, all that basic stuff. Then you get into things like dinking and all that. But nobody ever really taught me anything about court positioning other than where to stand at the beginning of a point. Mm-hmm. That was still basic number 1. But there was nothing about court positioning in the middle of a point in doubles.
Yeah.
And this video, the video that's up today, really covers that in depth. And I thought it was a fascinating video that taught me stuff that has not been taught. I know now why I've gotten slaughtered sometimes, and it's usually to do with where I am. And so anyway, it was a valuable video, but that's that's her most recent one, but we get to use her whole library. We will be doing that, and we'll be at least adding one per week to Pickleball Today. And I thank Catherine a lot, her and her coach.
Now, Pat, I just want to jump in there for a second. It's interesting that video is about court positioning, and literally within the last 2 or 3 days, I've done a couple lessons where people have signed up as their playing partner for like a tournament, and we spent a whole hour and a half on court positioning.
There we
And
go.
people are like, I've never taken a lesson on court positioning.
I hadn't even seen those lessons before.
Yeah. So it's something I've just started doing. Yeah.
Good. I'll be doing that with you then. So for anybody who is new to this podcast, Mark is a level 2 certified coach in Canada. I'm a level 1 coach. Level 1s just do the basics. I'm not a great player. Mark is a great player and a level 2 coach. And he is coaching me a bit as well, and I appreciate it. But fun coach, and Mark, by the way, can be reached at mark@corte.ca. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited about Catherine Parenteau as well. And it was very nice. She's just a lovely person in general, so I have to cheer for her all the time because, number one, I am that kind of guy that will cheer for every Canadian that I see in a sporting event.
Of course. Yeah.
I just do that, and I've been criticized. I'm cheering for Edmonton Oilers now.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of a Leaf fan.
I'm a Leaf fan too.
Well, we're going to make a lot of enemies here today.
I know.
But I'm all in for Edmonton. I was in Edmonton last September when the CNPL was there, and it was just before the season started. There was a lot of excitement, and then the Oilers started kind of slow, changed their coach, and they're all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals now.
Yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster of a season for Edmonton. And I actually used to live out in Jasper National Park there, which is about 40 minutes just outside of Edmonton. So I have some, old friends that are Oilers fans still, and, I'm backing them now. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm 100%. I watched all of their series throughout the whole thing. They would be my number 2 team. And frankly, they're the one that is going to win the cup before the Leafs are. So, and hopefully it's this year. So, okay. So next topic, Mark, you want to talk a little bit about shoes?
Yes. Shoes. So as a pickleball coach, everybody's always asking about what paddle I should upgrade, what paddle I should switch to, all this sort of stuff. But honestly, the first thing I tell people when they're joining is you need to actually upgrade your shoes before you upgrade your paddle. You need something that is comfortable, that's designed for how you move on the court. Most people always show up to the pickleball courts when they're first learning with running shoes. And it made sense. Like you don't want to invest money into a pickleball shoe or a tennis shoe until you actually know you're going to like it. But nowadays it doesn't take long to figure out that you're going to like it. So the reason I always say go for a pickleball shoe or a tennis shoe, because they're designed to move side to side. They have the extra support when you're at the kitchen line, going from side to side, stopping quickly, running up, stopping quickly, all those sort of movements, where a running shoe is only designed to really go forward, right? Not to stop, not to move side to side. And they have that built-in support so you don't roll your ankle, those sort of things. Your feet aren't as sore after. It's crazy, but yeah, I always recommend upgrading the pickleball shoe to a proper shoe before you upgrade your paddle. One shoe that what's
your favorite shoe?
Yeah, my favorite shoe is Asics right now. They're a super lightweight shoe. So I like to be quick out there, especially if you're playing singles or something. You want the lightweight shoe. There's definitely some other great brands out there as well. Like Yui mentioned, Tyrol. That's a nice Canadian company. I do have one pair of their shoes as well. I essentially go through shoes about every 6 to 8 months. So I know I try a couple different kinds and pairs. What about you? What's your favorite shoe that you got going right now?
Well, first off, I did go for shoes right away when I started.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. And I ended up buying Tyrol shoes right off the bat. The reason I did was, again, they were very specific to pickleball. Mm-hmm. Number 2, they had a bit of a cooling thing with them. They have like fairly thin insole, but it has air coming up through the bottom of the shoe up. I thought that was good if you're playing outside. Mm-hmm. It ended up, in that case, I ended up deciding, though I wanted orthotics later, so I kind of nullified that benefit of it.
Yes. Okay.
But why I went for shoes right away is I already had a bit of a bad issue with one foot. My wife and I have been we've walked thousands and thousands and thousands of kilometers over the last 6 or 7 years. And this one foot just tightens up along the bottom of it. It's not plantar fasciitis. I don't know what it's called. It's really sore. And I probably wore one of the pairs of shoes too long and was conscious about getting proper shoes right off the bat. And with Tyrell, I bought 2 pair right away.
Nice.
At the time, they offered to buy a second pair for half price. So I bought a second pair. So I am still using those 2 pairs of Tyrell shoes. I really like them. The orthotics I use are just general ones from Amazon. They're called Superfeet. Again, by the way, we are not an Amazon affiliate. So if we ever mention Amazon products, it's because, we buy them there. Me living in Cambridge, there's not a lot of local choices to buy much. So if we mention anything on Amazon, it's because that's where we can. But it's not because we sell it. But I would mention, I do like Tyrell shoes. We are an affiliate for Tyrell. I'll put a link in the show notes for that. But again, get what you want. I like them. Get what you want.
Yeah.
But definitely get some.
Yes.
Even tennis shoes are better than running shoes. Pickleball shoes are better than tennis shoes, I would say. Would you agree with that?
No, exactly. For a while, all you could find out there was tennis shoes. But I would say within the last 6 months to a year, there's been more of a focus on pickleball shoes. Now, Tyrell has been a pickleball shoe type company for a while.
Right.
And, I always look for a deal and stuff out there too, because I do go through shoes quite a bit. I'm on court, pretty much every day, long hours sometimes. And so always look for a deal. Check out the little link there that we have if you're looking to try out some Tyrell shoes. I know exactly what you're talking about, the air vent on them. That's the pair I had. It's very good. And definitely a shoe I go back to as well. Now, one thing you were talking about the other day, Pat, when we were just chatting at the courts, is your favorite book that you just read. Tell me a little bit more about that.
You know what? I'm going to pull it up. I'm just opening up Amazon so I can show it. I'll share a screen.
Perfect.
We can share a screen here. Let me grab the book. I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah. So anything with the pickleball. Yeah, no problem. So anything with, pickleball, the more you can read, the better it is, right? Any tips or anything you can get out there. One thing I'll mention too is in this book, it could have that. I haven't had a chance to read this one yet, but Pat recommended it to me the other day. One thing I'll talk a little bit about one of my coaching tips that we were talking about the other day. And that's like when you're when you're playing on the court, and we call it the seesaw effect. Essentially, one thing you got to remember when you're trying to defend somebody and you see their paddle go up in the air for a high ball, that means your paddle needs to go down, right? It's kind of like a seesaw that we used to see at the public parks. You know what I mean? Immediately your ready position should change based on the opponent in front of you's position. And that's one thing, amateur players don't always recognize, is their ready position needs to change throughout the game, the rally, the point, where you are on the court, all those sort of things. Your ready position always is changing. So one thing we always, mention is the seesaw effect. Everybody can picture the seesaws that used to be at the public parks. Once you sit on one end, the other end goes flying up. So the same idea, when you see your opponent's paddle go up, yours goes down. When your paddle goes up, their paddle should go down. If their paddle doesn't go down, you're probably going to win the point because you're going to smash it at their feet and get away with a nice little win on the rally there. So,
yeah, good. But anyway, I'm ready for the this. Let me share a screen. 1 second.
Yeah, perfect.
And this is the one I want. Share. There we go. This is the book that I really, truly enjoy, and I'll explain why. You can see it, Denmark?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Okay. It's called At the Line Pickleball. First of all, this is paperback, but it's also on Kindle. I'd have the Kindle version. I might even go out and buy the paperback because I want to add some stuff to it, I think. There are a lot of different books about pickleball on the market, even on Amazon. And if you have, say, Kindle, Unlimited, any of the Kindle books you can get for free if you have Kindle Unlimited, or a lot of them anyway, not all of them. But a lot of the books are really, really basic. And, just very fundamental stuff that you would learn with one lesson, and don't, they're pretty much redundant to each other. This was the best book that I've read out of maybe 20. And I devoured everything I did for the first 3 or 4 months. And this really gets into a lot more than just the basics. It gets into a lot more strategy. And again, a lot of court positioning and things like that. I truly, truly enjoyed the book, and I recommended it when I've taught my basic classes. If people want to get something, I just recommend it. Again, I'm not an affiliate. I don't know the guy who wrote it, Joe Baker, if that's the real name. I don't know, probably is. I think there are a lot of videos by Joe Baker online. But this got into much more depth than anything else. It was written, 2017? At least this one was done 2017. So it's been around for a while. But the fundamentals have not changed, just maybe the pace has changed, and the average age of the players has changed, getting younger. But I highly, highly recommend this book. And they also have another one. Joe has another one. Let's see if I go to Amazon, if it'll show up your related books. Yeah, and these are very simplistic ones. Let's see if he has this is the other one. Mastering the Mental Game of Pickleball. For any of you folks who've been around for a long time like me, you'll remember a book called Inner Tennis from years and years ago. It was a bestseller about tennis. And how many mistakes we make are mental mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
I truly can relate to that in pickleball. So many of my own mistakes were mental mistakes, or I come in with a mindset and I've tried to avoid it, where eventually I feel defeated and everything is going wrong, and it's just like I'm having a bad day, and it just goes from bad to worse to worse. And this has really helped me with that. I just thought it was really worthwhile. Not so much the physical aspect of the game, but your own thoughts as you're playing the game. And those two are, to me, it's a winning combination right there.
Oh, nice. That's good to hear, Pat.
Yeah. It really did help. I remember I came home after a particularly bad day, and I thought, what's affecting me? My thoughts more than anything else. I can do the shots, not perfectly, but I can do them.
Yep.
And how could I be so great one day, so bad another day against an equivalent player?
Yeah.
Or a team.
Yeah.
And it was usually I got into my own head after 2 or 3 bad shots, and then I was just messing up the whole time.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate this one. I do have Kindle Unlimited, so I've devoured a lot of books, but again, these are the two that I personally thought have been the most helpful for me in my year of playing. So let me shut off screen share here.
Yeah. So the mastering the mind game there, I think that's a good one. I know a few players at our local club that could use reading that. Give a little shout out to George. Think he should maybe get that one gifted to him. But no, that's great. That's great. So let's move on to the next topic here. One thing we wanted to talk about next was tournaments, and what kind of like format. There's a couple different formats out there. You can do a round robin plus single playoff.
Sorry to interrupt you, because you already did your coaching tip. I'm going to break in and give a final little advertisement, and then you will end with your tournament discussion. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
The final shout out again for sponsor is pickleballtours.ca. We talked about it extensively last week. They have some upcoming tours to England, Ireland, and Scotland, all one trip, where they're playing tournaments with tour members, but also with locals in each facility. Just sounds like they're going to great places, but it also sounds like a great tour. And their other one in the fall is to Spain. And it again sounds like a great tour. So when I've spoken to Peter at Pickleball Tours, he offered a discount to any of our listeners. The best, you can look at their website at pickleballtours.ca, but I would suggest you don't order through the website. If you are interested, give them a call and Peter's going to give you a special discount. So I'll just say you heard about it here. And that's it. Again, they're exciting. I think I will be taking one of his tours next year.
I know you will.
I already have a trip lined up for this year. So I can't this year. But there's one that he has that is going all around Spain next year. He's got, well, actually, if you look on their site, they've got a bunch. But the two this year are England, Ireland, Scotland as one, and Spain is am I right on that? Let me just, excuse me for one sec. Mars, I just got to double check. Did I have that location, the Spain one?
Yes, you mentioned Spain before.
Did I? I just wanted to double check to make sure I'm not making a mistake. Madrid, Seville, Granada, Malaga. Yeah, okay, it is Spain. I just have a fear that I mentioned the wrong one. That sounds exciting. Anyway, pickleballtours.ca, give them a call. Peter at area code 204-955-7981. Okay, Mark, take us away into tournaments.
Yeah. So tournament format, we had the CPA Louis on and today, and it got me thinking about tournament formats and what's your favorite, like round robin, and then everybody makes the playoffs, single knockout. You can do the old-fashioned double knockout, you can do, some other tournaments like ladders and stuff like that where you move up and down. I know personally. Can
you explain what a double knockout is if anybody doesn't know that?
Yeah, so essentially you have to lose twice to get knocked out of the tournament. So everybody starts in the top bracket, and then once you lose once, you go down to the lower bracket, and then you try to fight your way back up into the top bracket at the end there, essentially.
So especially if you're traveling a long way, you don't want to get knocked out right away.
Yeah, and so that's one thing is interesting is, you travel to tournaments, and based on the format of the tournament, you might sign up or might not sign up, right? Everybody always wants to get in as many games as possible when they're paying for a tournament. So I personally like the round robin style. I feel that allows you to get, kind of warmed up a bit. You play, 3, 4, 5 round robin matches, depending on how big your pool is. And then you get a chance in the playoffs, and then, you get one shot essentially in the playoffs to see if you can take it as far as you can. What about you, Pat? What kind of style do you prefer?
I've only done 2 tournaments, and one was the Good Games in Guelph, which I'll be playing again in July. And that is a round robin style, or it was last year at least. I think it is this year. I enjoyed that. I think we had about 7, 8 matches.
Yeah, see, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. So it was a big pool, and then of those 7 or 8, then it went down to the top 4 teams doing semis and finals. And so that was good. I got all the pickleball I need. I didn't make the playoffs in that one. It was only 3 months after I started playing.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I wanted to go for it. I mean, I wasn't expecting much, but I wanted to feel the feeling of it. And I had a great time. I mean, it was just great. I played doubles and mixed doubles.
Okay.
And I'm only a doubles. I think I'm only a doubles player, but if I get a bit better, I might start. I move okay for my new age.
Well, Pat, at your age now, you're the top dog in that bracket. Like you said, you just moved into a new bracket age, so
I think I am. Maybe I am. Yeah, see,
your chance to dominate.
My mindset. I got to get that mindset going again.
Yeah.
I'm the top dog until I see some of the other dogs, maybe. but I feel like I move fairly well for my age. I'll move better if I drop some weight. And I wouldn't mind trying some singles, but right now I would say I'm sticking with doubles. So I'm playing just mixed doubles this year because I didn't get enrolled in time for the doubles at court. But I do like the round robin. You get a lot of play. You don't want to go to, say if you can sign up and go to a PPA tour and you're paying a lot of money to go in their tournaments or APP, and they're a couple $100.
Yep.
And you don't want to be going and getting knocked out after 2 matches or something like that. Now, I don't even know what their format is.
A lot of the professional tours are the double knockout and you're done, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't do the round robins usually at the pro level very much anymore. Now, there are some tournaments that obviously do, but they are more of a knockout type of style.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then club level, you would do things differently at a club level, right? Where you don't have as many people.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one thing I'll mention too is like at our club, we're starting these mini tournaments essentially, and we're just picking one format, and you just come in for a couple hours and it's done and over with. And it's just back-to-back games. So we're having our first one. Now, you mentioned singles. We're having our first one this June 15th on Saturday that maybe I can get you to sign up for then. Who knows?
I think I have enough minutes.
You said you wanted to try singles, so the idea with the
try we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So I'll see if I can get Pat out for our singles tournament. So, but that's the other thing it leads into, right? So the idea with our club is we want to do a few mini tournaments, so you're not spending the whole day there, and you have that hour in between matches and stuff. This is just like boom, boom, boom. Everybody's playing. You get a little break, and then boom, you're right back into the next game. And that leads into the next question. How long do you think a tournament should be? Because we've been there from, beginning of the morning all the way to end of night. Some tournaments are nice where they let different start times. So you don't start until the afternoon, opposed to everybody starting at some point in the morning. What's your personal preference on time with tournaments?
Well, I mean, you don't want it to be any longer than it has to be, but the good games, again, my experience, that's a big tournament, 300, 400 players. That was a full day for doubles and a full day for mixed doubles. I didn't mind that. I mean, there was certainly downtime. It didn't even out. Sometimes you only had 10 minutes. Sometimes you had an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
But it is a well-run tournament, and by the way, they have multiple sports, so you got to give the folks credit for putting on such a big event in Guelph, Ontario. But a club tournament, a couple hours, if it's 3 or 4 hours, have a couple beers at the end or whatever.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us into the final topic for today. So we've moved along fairly quickly today, and that's covering our tournaments across Canada. I'm not going to open up pickleball brackets, but I'm just going to blow through a few here today. Not as many as before, but in all regions of Canada. Coming up, this is soon. Well, this coming weekend is the CPA Pro Tour starting tomorrow in Oshawa. But out in Atlantic Canada, I shouldn't say out in Atlantic Canada, the Pickleball Canada, the Atlantic Regionals are June 14th to 16th. That's in Moncton, New Brunswick. Shout out to Moncton. I've been there a number of times. I like it. I've been through it more times. 487 players in a tournament. That's a big tournament.
Wow, that is a big tournament.
That is big. Yeah, that is. So Atlantic Canada, we've got some great clubs in Atlantic Canada, of which we're part of our Canada's Best Pickleball contest last year, and hopefully will be this year as well. Moving on to Quebec, there's a big tournament coming up this weekend, June 7th. It's called the PB Sport Open, Patrick Batty Sport Open, named after me, I guess.
Wow.
I think so.
You're that famous, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, PB Sport Open, maybe it's pickleball. Let's hope so. 319 players. That's in Laval, Quebec. So again, a pretty big tournament. You mentioned the CPA Pro Tour in Oshawa, in Ontario. Also, the Tecumseh International is a large one this weekend. By the way, in all these tournaments, you can't enroll anymore. But if you were a pickleball player in the area, go watch.
Yeah.
My goodness, these people are pouring everything into it, and you will learn some stuff if you watch these people. It's phenomenal, the number of good players we have in this country.
That is a very good point.
June 6th to 9th, 326 players, and they do have people coming from other countries. Well, obviously the U.S. right across the border. Tecumseh is right by Windsor. But I know last year they had players from other countries, India, Mexico, and other places. Manitoba had their championship last weekend, so there's nothing in the short term, not a big tournament in the short term. Saskatchewan, the 2024 provincial tournament is coming up again this weekend as well. So it's a busy weekend across Canada. 312 players in that one. Alberta. First of all, Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia have massive pickleball scene.
Yes.
Alberta, there's all kinds of tournaments, but the large ones, Parkland Pickle Heads, and they have kind of multiple areas. They cover 323 players, and this is just their season opener tournament.
Wow.
So I'm not sure if they have people coming from other clubs or not, but there's 323 players in it. So I don't know if that's, when it's called season opener, it almost sounds like a club tournament, but I may be wrong. Anyway, that's June 21st to 23rd. And finally, British Columbia Kamloops opened this weekend as well, June 7th to 10th. There are 357 players in that. So the sport is thriving. I mean, think about it. These are what percentage of players do you think go into tournaments, Mark?
1%? I was going to say like 5, maybe 10 have tried one tournament in a year. But majority of people they kind of get scared a little bit about going to tournaments. They almost put added pressure on themselves, when they're in a tournament. You don't want to let your partner down or anything like that. But one good thing, like you mentioned before, is just going out and watching one of these tournaments if something's in your area, and you will instantly get more comfortable with just the atmosphere. And you'd be surprised how many of your friends, might be around, and you can cheer them on and talk to them, and it builds up your excitement about trying one yourself. And then usually once you try one, you start doing one, every couple months or so. I would say the average person does one about every 3 or 4 months once they get hooked on them, essentially.
Yeah. I agree. I went and watched one last year in Stratford. It was one of the Ontario regionals, Southwestern Ontario or Central or South Central or something.
Okay.
Again, big tournament, big facility there. And that got me into it, and I signed up for one myself, even again, though I had only been playing for a few months. But to watch some of these play. Oh, and I did a clinic while I was there too, so that may be an opportunity for people as well. Some of these will have clinics at them. So I don't know if it's 5% or not, but
it's tough to know for sure, but
that might be high.
Yeah.
I just went through tournaments. There's about 2,000 people playing in these tournaments. There are probably 20 or 30 others this weekend across Canada.
True.
Please list them. So if you want to check them out, go to pickleballbrackets.com and you can see what's in your area. Just do a search for Canada and then search your province. But there are a lot. So that kind of covers it. One final thing, we have some new paddles on the way in. I'm not going to reveal the brands yet, but I'm pretty excited about these brands because these are, first of all, not generally available in Canada. We're about to be the first affiliate for these two companies in Canada. They are available at one retail store, at least some of them are. And if you are a retailer, by the way, and you would like a national partner to be set, we would send you sales. Let us know, because we would love to, just like Yui mentioned High Sports, so I should connect with High Sports, because if they want to be a partner that we can sell paddles without having to get shipped in from the US, we'd love to do that. But,
of course. Anything that grows the sport in Canada, that's what we're all about. And trying to get more paddles, different companies, different reaches out to in different Canadian hands, because we don't always have the same opportunities as some of the states with some of the partnerships and stuff. We're trying to support as many, that we can. And you never know what paddle is going to be the paddle for you. Your buddy might try one paddle and love it. You try it and you hate it, and so the search continues for yourself, right? So keep trying people's paddles at local courts. Ask them to play a game, switch. I always let anybody use one of my paddles. You never know what they're going to feel comfortable with, right? So
And I walk in and I usually hand you a new one of mine.
Yeah. I love when Pat comes in because I'm just like, Pat, open up your bag. What do you got today?
But I mentioned our retail partner, like Pickleball Central in the States, right? There are some major retailers in Canada, not maybe to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Pickleball Central is probably the largest store in the world, connected with the PPA, but they do have affiliates in the U.S. I reached out to some Canadian retailers last year, and they just hadn't even thought about affiliates. So,
gotcha.
But we would love to, because there are a lot of companies that aren't selling through affiliates and or aren't even shipping to Canada in general. And so if there's an American company that wants to let us, where we can let you know what our experiences are and who the shippers are that work the best and programs, you can reach out. I did notice, by the way, about a third of our listeners are in the U.S., even though we've only marketed to Canada.
Hey, it's
anyway,
a sport.
I think that's
go worldwide.
Yeah. So anyway, we should be able to announce these paddles, not next week, but the week after. And the owner of the companies are going to come on after we've had a chance to play with the paddles and come on and be a guest. We're also lining up a president of one of the clubs in Western Canada. I'm just finalizing schedule, whether it's next week or the week after.
Perfect.
So that's it for today. We did stick to a little tighter format. I want to thank you, Mark.
Oh, this was good, Pat.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. I mean, we do appreciate it. Please leave us some comments. Please like and subscribe. Follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe there. We're all over the place. You can find us for sure. Pickleball Today, the pod. We'll see you again next week. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Pickleball Today, the podcast version of Pickleball Today, Canada's national pickleball news source. Pickleball, obviously, is our passion. And no matter what it is, if it's happening in pickleball in Canada, we're your premier source to bring it all to you. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. Find our website at pickleballtoday.co. On Facebook at PCKL Ball Today. On Instagram at pickleball_today. On YouTube at Pickleball Today Canada. And on Twitter at Pickleball Today. See you next time.